I saw online that there's a maker festival happening at the library. So I checked it out. The R2D2. Place looks pretty nice. As a whole, it wasn't as busy as the comic festival, so that was nice to like actually have room to walk around and look at stuff. It's just a bunch of clips of neat stuff. This is like an ultra high speed bike. The guy that's standing next to it said that he's gotten up to 140 kilometers an hour in it. It's pretty cool. The guys who made all of these model boats, they really liked to talk about how hard it was to make the model boats. They're like, yeah, you know, this one took like 400 hours. I cut each piece of wood like individually, made like little pegs to keep the wood in place because glue's not good enough. And then these huge boats, they were all made out of cardboard, which is pretty nuts, you know?
You can actually play it. It works. Like, but
These are pretty cool. Low poly, papercraft. I bought a raccoon and then I sat down and I made a bow tie with them. It's all just glued together. As I was walking in, I saw that they were making this sign, and it's neat that they made it in like a few hours, and it's like, boom, it's right there. This is just a neat chalk thing. Anyways, after that, I'm heading down to Thompson Park, because in the morning, when I was browsing Reddit, I read about the Maker Faire, and that they were doing a bike tour of the park. And I stopped at this grocery store, I pet a dog, but I forgot my water bottle, so I got some water. Well, aloe drink. And on my way, I passed by Pinewood, and I was like, oh, cool. I didn't actually know where this was exactly until now, so that's neat. Now I'm at the edge of the park, and I'm a little late for the bike tour, but I figured, I don't know, I'll just ride around, and I'm pretty sure I'll just see a group of people, and I'll just join the tour then. Which is exactly what happened. I just saw a bunch of people, and I was like, well, that's probably them. And so this whole park was like a dumping area, and then over 15 years, no longer, over like 30 years or something, they've been replanting wetlands. Down here I'm like, oh, what's up with all these swallows? And there's like a little auditorium down here, and all of these barn swallows have put up a bunch of nests. It's kind of neat to see them all flying around. The water level is still really high. It's almost like to where the bridge meets the land there. But it's kind of cool. We're gonna go see where the cormorants nest, and as we get closer, the smell of bird shit increases like tenfold. And you can see all these little dead trees with their nests in them. Kind of have a shit camera for zooming, but yeah, there's like 1,000 nests in that little area. And the park people have to go around and knock down nests in areas that they don't want them to nest because they killed the trees with their shit. Tour's over now, and I'm taking a different route out of the park. All in all, I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty good day. Probably gonna go eat some food or something. Kinda wish that I actually lived close to the TNT market, cause like, man, look at all this food. That was like $7 for like a huge thing. That was nice. This is Sugar Beach. I'm just heading home now. I'm pretty sure that I'm like done for the day. I feel like I've been outside for long enough. And then after hanging out at home for an hour, I went to meet up with these guys. And we ate Swiss chalet. And then we're going over to Dandy's to pump up her bike, because we thought that there wasn't any pumps in this area, but there actually was one that we just never noticed. Well, pretty decent day overall. Saw a lot of stuff. Yeah.